Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated.
Okay, Come to Where I'm From podcast, episode 108. Handsome Dick Manitoba.
Handsome Dick, Richard Manitoba.
Either one, baby. If you're mad at me, it's Dick.
Okay, that's convenient.
It's a pleasure to be here, boys.
Yeah,
pleasure to be in this bomb shelter.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you're a baseball fan and you grew up in the Bronx.
Yeah, I was. I put an album out 2 years ago. First solo album I ever put out and I was in my 60s. And it's called Born in the Bronx, and it's a real diverse record. Probably like my podcast. Probably like your podcast. It's like soup to nuts, A to Z, everything and anything. And, I mentioned a lot of reference points. One of them, of course, was Yankee Stadium and Mickey Mantle, who was the first human that I met that I thought was God. And my father took me to Yankee Stadium. I became a baseball fan. First tattoo.
What? It's a Yankees?
Yeah, first tattoo.
Nice.
Swore I'd never get one. I have about 9.
And you got the
and I have
chain.
a meeting. I have a meeting for 3 more on Thursday.
The Yankee chain.
You're getting some more?
I got a meeting with this amazing guy who's like really famous. Josh Lord, his name is. And I have 3 more planned, but I have to write skills. I don't want to do legs. I would do arms, no chest, no legs. I would do upper back and arms. So I have to make sure I have room so it looks good, you know.
Mm-hmm. What are you going to get?
The first one I'd like to get, I can't because I have to wait over a year to get it. So, sorry. The big one on the back, I want to get handsome across my back with a star. I want that to be cool. That could be 3 years. The first one I'll probably get is I'm a big UFC fan. Huge, like baseball and UFC. Like I could watch for hours.
Yeah.
And when you go back to 1993, the first logo for UFC was just brilliant. It was before there were any rules. It was like it was like 1480 fights in the 1400s, biting, gouging, no weight divisions. Anyway, they had the world with a man standing on top of the world like this, and I loved it. And it also says 1. So my guess is like, look, which stingray should I get? You know, it's hard. There's 1,000 beautiful stingrays. Which Bridget Bardot should I get? It's 1,000 beautiful Bridget Bardots. You have to pick one. Which Beatles signatures should I get? You have to pick one. There's a reason I picked this one.
Which one did you pick?
I picked these 4. They were in a hotel. And
What do they say?
John
It's
Lennon.
the Beatles.
It's
It's the
the
4
Beatles.
Beatles.
Are the actual signatures?
Yeah.
Well, they're actual signatures from online.
Yeah.
From the story is they were in a hotel. You want to hear the story? I mean,
Sure.
they were in a hotel, and they used to. And Ringo always did Ringo's star, and he used to draw a star under it. So they were probably a little drunk and stuff. And this is like years later, after they had started, writing their names on pieces of paper. And George was fucking with Ringo. And he drew a star under his name just to bust his balls, to do the same thing. So that was the story. Also, the J is more times cursive than not. And this one is not. So that's, it makes it, okay, that's that story. There's 1,000 choices. So the 2 choices I have for the UFC are number 1, the one I described, or number 5, which is similar with a guy, but his arms are not up in the air as much. He's making muscles. He's like posing. And the thing is, it's in an octagon, which is the fighting arena that is trademarked, that you can't use an octagon. So I have to make a decision between 1, and then I've made my decision.
The first one.
Yeah, because octagon, to people who know it are going to see, okay, octagon. So, you know what I mean? But 1 is 1.
Right.
It's
the
you go
original.
from 0, we've never done this, to 1.
Right.
So 1 is important.
1 is important. What about the guy that just retired?
I'm sorry.
29-0?
Yeah.
name?
Habib Nurmagomedov.
I don't know how to say his name. Nurmagomedov.
Nurmagomedov. Yeah, something like that. My son's good.
What do you think about that?
As a really intense fan, he's absolutely amazing.
Right.
He is when people say everybody's got a plan to fight Mike Tyson until he punches you in the face once.
Right.
Your plan goes out the window. Everybody's got a plan. They see his weaknesses. They can see who gave him a tough time. They understand that the gate closes and 29 men lost.
Yeah.
His father taught him in Dagestan, and it's like he's levels above as a wrestler. And he does sambo, which is more mixed. It's not he's an unbelievable wrestler.
Right.
But he does sambo. So I mean, he knows how to box. He just knows how to fight. He's got a great fight IQ. And his wrestling is so insanely above anybody else's that they get in the ring. This guy's really strong, and he's really amazing at wrestling. And if he gets his hands on me, I'm dead. And the last guy he fought, everybody said, toughest fight of his life. Choked him out in the second round.
Yeah, I saw it.
I got a stupid question about the UFC. When you say 29-0, how long does it take to do the 29? Is it like a 4-year thing, or is it 29 in 1 year? Like what's
not 1 year.
How often do they? No, but how often do they fight?
No.
Like what's 29?
Probably 4 years might be a good guess.
So it's only
not every 4 years. There are variables.
no 4 years for the 29.
I don't know if it's all 29.
No, but so these guys, they fight 5-6 times a year. Is that the average?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure the 29 is even all UFC. It might be like 7-0 before he came into the UFC. A lot of guys, they include that record. They say he's unbeaten, and he's got 6 wins in the UFC, and he's got 13-0. I'm not sure if all 29 were in the UFC, but to say that, I would say, I would say a top line fighter doesn't fight more than twice a year.
Really?
But why did he retire? Because he's still young. I guess losing his dad.
Losing his dad, his mom didn't even want him to have this fight. Fans are dying for 1 or 2 more fights. It's hard for a guy who done that since he wrestled a bear when he was 8 years old. You know, he doesn't. It's hard to go out on top, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to go out on top.
Yeah.
And I think his father and his mother are very, very important to him, especially his father.
Right.
His father was his mentor. He took him from a child and molded this masterful fighter, and he, I think he's that kind of guy.
It was emotional when he broke down at the end. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And who was the guy that fought him?
My son, I'm sorry.
Who was the guy that fought him?
Do you remember his name? Gaethje.
Gaethje. And Gaethje was like super classy, went up and hugged him. That was awesome.
That's the best way it is. When it's good, that's the best way. My son told me, he's going down to a military training, what do you call it? Marine, whatever they call it, training camp.
Boot camp.
Boot camp for 3 months. And he said, at the very end, when you graduate, they walk down the aisle. It's like robotic. And they open this box and they give you this little thing. It's about the size of a quarter. And it says, the Marine sign. And then they say, like, you can cry now. They say that to you. They never pat you on the back. Say, Jake, did they ever pat you on the back and say, good job, kid? Or go, nope. They are there to rip you to zero and build you up to what they call a Marine. Mm-hmm. And he's 17, and he knows he wants to do this.
Right. That's wild. What do you think of that?
I fucking hate it. I hate it, but there's so many rationalizations going on in my head. I've tried to talk him out of it for 2 years. For one reason, because of the fear of something happening to him, whether mentally and or physically. And number 2, my selfish reasons is I'm going to be real alone. And, me and his mom broke up, and, he's wanted to live with me, and he's been my roommate for 3.5 years. And one of the songs I'm working on now, brand new, because I found new people to work with, is called Moment Number 1. And that's when the doctor came around the curtain because she had a cesarean and wrapped him up and put him in my arms and said, this is your son, Dad. and I'm going to call the song "Moment Number One."
That's nice.
You know,
I like that title.
I can't do it all schmaltzy. It's got to be a humanity story that from A to Z that people can identify with, and not just me going.
Right. What kind of music is it?
I don't know yet because I write lyrics, but I found a guy who's an amazing singer and songwriter. As a matter of fact, a few guys that died in what's the name of the band that did "Don't Walk Away, Renee"? That band. He sang.
I'll look it up.
He sang those songs with that band. I think when the original lead singer died, so his voice is amazing. And he said to me, "Listen, you just throw out a couple of melodies, even without an instrument. You just threw something out at me." He goes, "Just give me a couple of those. I'll write the rest of the song."
Yeah.
So that's what I need. I need help. I was working with a really talented guy. Maybe I shouldn't mention names. In Nashville. That's who we made the record with. He plays 7 instruments. Produced Wilson Pickett. Works with. I know you know these guys. You've been around. Works with one of the greatest of all time. What's his name from Stax Volt? Oh God, I can't believe this. Oh, this happens to me at my age. The guy who wrote Green Onions and was an integral part of Stax Volt. Anyway,
I'll find it.
I know Green Onions. That's a classic, right?
Yeah, that's well. Basically, this was the
Booker
guitar.
T.
Who?
Booker T.
No, he's a Stax Volt songwriter, producer, guitar player. He's brilliant. He's a genius. I mean that whole body of music, and Sam and Dave and Otis Redding.
Jim Stewart.
No.
So this is a solo record you're working on, but it's done, or you
this is the
recorded
weird
some
thing.
of it, or you're still working on it, or what?
This guy says to me, who I've known since the 70s, and we worked together. I was working up at Sirius Radio.
Right, Little Steven's Underground Garage.
Right, until I got fired. So then that was considered, he considered that the first shooting of my foot. The second shooting of my foot was going to jail because of
Altercation
with my baby mommy. The third was that I said, if I didn't vote for Trump, I'll tell you, I don't tell people who I voted for, but I'll tell you, I didn't vote for Trump. And I was kidding, but I went, if he picks Elizabeth Warren as his vice president, I'm going to vote for Trump. So one of my lady friends calls me up, who put me up in California in her girlfriend's house. She teaches college. She writes books. She calls me up. She goes, "I'm not going to be able to be your friend anymore." I said, "What are you, in 3rd fucking grade? I mean, give me a break. You're a super, super smart kid. We know each other for 25 years. It's like, you know how many people I know are voting for Trump that I love? Like it's like I love them, and they're voting for Trump. Now I don't love them. I saw a movie. It was a great movie. I found out the guy who made the movie was a pedophile. So it's not a great movie anymore. You see my point? If I loved you, I love you. You know, and I hate your political opinion, and it makes me sick, and all that stuff. But goodbye. So this guy said, "You shoot yourself in the foot too much." The girl
who said that? Who's
the guy who made the record with me?
Oh, okay.
Dude, I would be in my studio at Sirius. I'd put down my microphone. I'd give him 10 lines. The next morning, he plays 7 instruments, got a studio in his house. He gave me a song.
Right.
I went down there in 4.5 days. We did 13 songs. I got 8 left over, and there's 3 or 4 new ones I'm working on. So.
Oh, okay. Then this will be your first solo record.
Second.
Oh, the second.
Well,
one.
I did it with him. We did it 50-50. But
oh, okay.
I considered solo. It's called Handsome Dick Manitoba, Born in the Bronx.
Right. That's cool. So Born in the Bronx, and you started with the Dictators as their roadie, right?
Yes. It was like first up in Newport's in the early 70s, which was Party University. Late teens, late mid-teens, late teens, early 20s. We all hung out up there, and it was, the wild, wild East.
Upstate.
Yeah, upstate New York, about 100 miles upstate. Newport's, that's where Floyd Patterson, the boxer's from.
Okay.
And we started a fanzine called the Teenage Wasteland Gazette, named after the Who song. And it was like it was like drunk college kids writing that, like, you know, so and so who sells lemonade on campus, he pees in his lemonade, you know, like the head of the school came like, yo, you gotta stop this magazine. So that was the literary version of the Dictators. Then there's let's be in a rock and roll band, coolest thing in the world. We get drunk, get laid, you know, play music. So they started a band, and I was the band's best friend. So they had to create a job for me. So I said, okay, I'll be a roadie. And it was a terrible roadie. I one time I'm in a parking lot looking for where the entrance is to the club, and I'm driving a 12-foot box truck, and the top corner of the box truck catches onto a metal awning and actually pulls the metal poles that are holding the awning, that are inside the concrete. It pulled it out of the concrete. I lost amps. I was like not good. Then the moment of as maybe the beginning of my Bible, in the beginning, for me, was a place called Popeye's Spinach Factory in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. I know for a fact that Eric Emerson from the Magic Tramps, who was part of the Andy Warhol family, was there. I know for a fact that Chris Stein was there. And then it's one of those stories where every year, like, somebody else was there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I was drunk, and I was still the roadie. And, you know, every Dictators played, and everyone was like, yeah. I'm not bragging. As Muhammad Ali said, if you can do it, it ain't bragging.
Right.
And I could do it. So they handed me the microphone.
Just for the hell of it. Like, here's the roadie.
Yeah, you're going to do a song at the end of the set.
Right.
And I did Wild Thing. And I was just like, Wild Thing!
Yeah.
You know, I went nuts. The place went nuts.
Yeah.
So every time they gave me the microphone, the place went more crazy than when the lead singer.
Yeah.
Who was he?
I don't even like it. Let me put it this way. Richard Nixon had a top 10 list, enemy list.
Right.
This guy might be
number one.
My single hated most person in the world. And I think I'm not sitting in no friggin' mountaintop trying to do Zen shit. And I'm not Mother Teresa. I think it's fine to hate. And I hate him.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much it's in your life because it messes you up.
It does.
You know, and so you're somebody who likes therapy and talks to people a lot.
How do you know I like therapy?
Because I did a little research.
Whoa!
So it's like, as somebody who does therapy and his emotional intelligence must have arrived from all that work, then you know that for you to be like having resentment is like, what is it, like taking the poison and expecting it to hurt the other person. So in that way, the hippie ideal is correct, where you should let go and forgive just because resentment only hurts you, really.
Well,
nicely
you're right.
Said, Joe.
The way it is it's nicely said. I would maybe erase the word hippie because my version of that of you being correct is you know, therapy takes work. It's people think I go in there, hey, I feel better.
So does forgiveness.
It does, but it's also they have a slogan in AA that says that guy's living rent free in my head.
Right.
You know.
Well, yeah, that's it.
But instead of forgiving him, because if somebody means you harm and treats you like shit, I'm not forgiving him for that. What I need to do, this is what I need to, I might be wrong spiritually and philosophically and all those ways. What I need to do is push him out of the way, stop thinking about him, get him out of my mind, and move on and make myself happy.
Right.
That's what I need. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Like
that's kind of a form of forgiveness, I think.
Yeah. Like I think like when I went to like, let's see, I took my kid to a shrink, the best shrink in the world. Oh, he's fucking great. He's the head of child and pediatric psychiatry at Bellevue. Me, I go see a psychologist in the East Village over here, and then I get like a pill pusher doctor. And he's great too. I only see him once a month. I'll talk to him on the phone once a month for like 20 minutes. And he said, you need any pills? He's like, oh, I'm out of this, I'm okay with this, I'm okay with this. But he...
Really? 4?
No, I have a psychologist and a pill pusher.
But you said I'm out of this, I'm okay with this, I'm out of this, I'm good with this. That's 4. I was like, that's a lot of pills.
I'm so good from the 70s. I can take all the pills in one shot.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I could take a whole handful of vitamins.
Yeah. Well, I take vitamins too.
Yeah.
And I
Vitamins.
well, the thing is, I actually got to the point where I said, listen, I said to him, like, I want to tell you something. I have this feeling. It's just a feeling, but it's a feeling. It's like there are times I wish my son's mother would die, but I don't want her to because of him. And he said, you know what? I don't really believe that you actually really want her to die. I just think, like I was talking about the other guy, you want to push her away, stop thinking about her, the pain and the trauma, and you know, in other words, my next 8 months are going to be spent trying to figure out how to be busy and happy with things that I like doing, which has always been my life. Love doing the radio, love doing the bar, love traveling around the world playing rock and roll. You know, even if it's a smaller version, I don't care. As long as I'm out there, make a couple of bucks and entertaining people. I'm a natural born entertainer. I want to get back out there and figure out how to do that, which will make me happy and make me busy. So I let my son go flap his wings. I've been flapping mine for 66 years. He's out there. He wants to flap his. He wants to find out who he is. He wants to find out what the world is like. So, like, I no matter what my feelings are, I got to do that for me, and I got to let him go, because it's gonna be very painful after being with him for 18 years, seeing him a little bit here and there for 4. Because it's like I'm not going to be 43 years old when I get out. I'm going to be like 71, and I'm assuming I'm going to be 71.
Right.
But I'm an Ashkenazi Jew. We live forever. I got a 100-year-old aunt.
Right. You look good. You seem like you're going to be around for a while.
I'm trying, man. I go to the gym. I had an operation. I had a hip replacement.
I took you off topic of the Dictators. I'm sorry about that gig that I asked you who the lead singer was, and I forgot what the story was.
I just don't like mentioning his name.
Right up, but you were talking about that gig, and I got everyone off track. I'm sorry.
I get a friend, if it's okay, who does a thing called Rock and Roll Geek Show, and
right, I was listening to that.
Yeah, he's done like 1,500. He's done since like 2005, and he's like my mentor. Like he's so loving. I never met the guy. Guy's so loving to me and so giving on the phone. Anything I need help with, he showed me how to join things, do things, except for the technical stuff that he helped me with a little, but he's not that good at it. And he does all audio. And I was on the show. Obviously, Andy got mad about what I said, Andy. And
the singer?
Yeah. And he said, I'm going to come on the show. So this guy, out of respect to me, because he loves me so much, said, is it okay with you? He asked me.
Right.
And I said, yes, under one circumstance. Right. I get last licks, as they say in the playground. So
what's that mean? You
last licks means you're up last. I get it. I go back on again after.
Oh, okay.
So he went on, and he was, for whatever anger he had at me, it was fucking full. It was evil. I mean, he motherfucked me. He put me down, make me look like an asshole, put my ex-woman down. I was just the biggest piece of shit. And at the end, he said, I think Richard is mentally ill and got a lot of problems, and I really feel sorry for him, is what he said. So this is somebody I'm supposed to like forgive. So anyway, I said, listen, he thinks he owns the Dictators. There were guys playing for 43 years in the Dictators who wanted to keep going. He said no, so it's got to be no. He's a songwriter. He gets money. When you're a songwriter, you get money for your songs. You don't control everything. You're getting paid for your job. So I went back. I'm not going to go into it. He said, she said, he said. So, you know, I got him back, you know, in my own way. I got him back in my own way. And, you know, I basically said, listen, all these geniuses like Scott, who was in the band, he stopped being my friend after 56 years. I'm not even 100% sure why. Someone told me I badmouthed his band in public. And they're out of my life. They all sent me a letter saying, you're out of the Dictators. Not only that, we bought the name Dictators. You're not allowed to use this logo. You can't use this lettering.
It's tattooed on your arm.
You can't use this. You can't use this whip that we've used around from one letter, which is from Ring Magazine, which I know the editor was the New York State Boxing Commissioner, Randy Gordon's a friend of mine. And he was saying, you can't use the coloring. You can't say handsome dick of the Dictators or from the Dictators. It has to be formally of. I'm like, so if I get a lawyer, it's ridiculous. Dictators never make money. If I get a lawyer, you're going to take me to court because they said handsome dick of, I use the word of. The lawyer, the judge is going to go, are you fucking kidding me? You're taking this into making stop to use the word of? And the thing is, I own 25% of the Dictators, so I don't even think.
So rewind back to when you were the roadie and you first started. They invite you on stage at the end, and from there you became the lead singer. It
a little bit stepped in shit, and a lot was like, as
stepping in shit for people, meaning like got lucky and
yeah. But I made the most of stepping in shit.
Yeah. Well, you were an entertainer, and that's what the wings you got right there.
That was it. And as time went on, it was clear. And we had Murray Krugman, who signed Blue Oyster Cult, and Sandy Pearlman, who ran Blue Oyster Cult, rest his soul. And they wanted me to be the lead singer. The guy I was working with down in Nashville, he wanted me to be the lead singer. It was like, it was obvious. This is the right man for the job. This guy should be on the chalkboard like a football coach, drawing up the plays, coming out on stage and handing the ball to me and say, go run with the ball.
And that's what happened.
That's happened. I think he got. This is my opinion because other people don't agree with me. This is my opinion. I don't think he ever got over it.
What? So did it happen that you were the lead singer?
Yes.
For how long was that?
After the first album, I was the secret weapon, they called it. I sang about half the songs on the second album and almost every song on the third album. And then most of the songs on the album we made in 1990. And I was the lead singer. I was the front of the, I mean, everyone I run into thinks I wrote the songs.
Right.
It just became that, live and everywhere, I was the personality of the band. And I was. I mean, Ross was like the guitar hero of the band.
Right.
So Ross and I went out with the Dictators NYC a few years ago. This is what blows my mind, because I understand the other two. I'd stand on stage, and just like I finished telling you guys, to make this same point, I said, hey, this guy is a dyed-in-the-wool Republican, right-wing. I'm a liberal. We don't get along at all like that. We have different baseball teams. But you know what? When we were 17 years old, we went to Fordham Road in the Bronx. We got burgers, and we stopped at Alexander's, and we bought albums. And I said, that's the shit that makes humanity. That's the shit that makes love and friendship. That counts a lot more than who you're voting for, to me.
To me, too.
And we went to Europe 6 weeks a year. 3 weeks, like in one season, like 6 months later, 3 weeks. 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 years in a row. Mm-hmm. Had more fans show up than ever, made more money than ever. And one day I get this thing in the mail. Ross signs his name along with them. I didn't do anything. I didn't even talk to the guy to throw me out of the band. So they're writing new songs, and they're going to go on. I don't know what their plans are. I think they're going to go on without me or getting a new lead singer in like 67, 68 years old. They're going to do this. And the only thing is...
Oh, currently, this letter just came recently.
A few months ago.
Huh. Really?
Yeah, and I had my lawyer send them letters. He ignored. I sent them a letter. He ignored it. I don't care that they got it as a Dictators. I honestly don't anymore.
Yeah.
Because I put in my 43 years, and people know who I am. Thing is, if they got something up their sleeves, like something around the corner that's going to bring in some real money, I don't want to get thrown out. I don't think there's any contract that says. I don't think if 3 out of 4 people that there's a state contract that says you can get thrown out of the band if 3 out of 4. I don't know what the goddamn law is. All I know is I own 25% of Dictators Incorporated, and I get a K-1 on my taxes every year, which is, for those of you that don't know, it's just like, you know, what the corporation did tax-wise for that year, and you know, so that's where it's at with Ross. The one time he called me up was hysterical. It's so Ross. It's hysterical. He doesn't call me up, and I yelled at him. I did yell at him for 5 minutes. I go, Ross, I lost my fucking job. My relationship broke up. I went to jail. I lost my bar, and not one of you guys texted me, emailed me, or anything in 2 years. I go, Ross, how could you fucking do that to me? He's like, I tried to call you 3 times. I go, I got thousands of fucking calls, thousands of emails, thousands of text messages. 3 times. The day he was calling me there was money that was frozen that we were owed. The Dictators were owed like $2,000 each or something. It was frozen. He called me up. Richard, your vote can unfreeze the money. It was about money. That's when he called me up in 2 years.
Yeah, but that's humanity. That's why forgiveness is like, I use this thing called Ho'oponopono, which is this Hawaiian mantra. It goes, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And the idea of it is you take responsibility for everything in your field of consciousness. So you don't spend any energy blaming anyone else for anything, even something like that, even if they are wrong, like whatever that means. Like, right. Even if you got wronged, and it's especially effective in cases such as that. And then you apply that mantra, like you hear that mantra. There's tons of them on YouTube. I could send them to you, and you just listen to it, and you think of all the people in your life, and you just sort of send out that, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Because the idea is, even if you manifested somebody wronging you, on some level, you created that.
Bro, of course.
Right. So it's like, what it does is it liberates you. It just liberates you, and it sets you free, and it's just like, it's so relieving. Because I went through a period years ago where I felt wronged by several really important people in my life, and that's how I discovered this mantra, and it really just set me free from all that resentment that I had. I was like living in that weird whirlwind of resentment for years, and I just like, life's too short, man.
Well, they say resentment takes you back to the needle in NA.
Yeah.
You know? But was this from you to you, or did it cross out to them?
The thing is, it's a magical, powerful thing, because when you practice it enough, it has the effect of like just affecting your life. Even like it has the effect of affecting people in your life, even though they don't know you're practicing that.
Oh, so it's you to you
to you
for your own good.
You don't say it to them, but you just get your head into that space.
I go for that. For that.
You get your head into that space. So like with this Ross the Boss thing or whatever, you're listening to that mantra and you're applying it to him. And in your heart, you're kind of just like releasing it and just forgiving him, forgiving yourself, taking responsibility for everything in your field of consciousness. And it just has this effect of letting you live from inspiration rather than from memory, you know? So like, because with resentment, you're bogged down in memory, and you're bogged down in like what happened, and you're bogged down in the story. But the thing is with humans is, you know, everyone's got a story, and everyone's got a story about you, and you got a story about them, and you think you're right and they think they're right, and this, that, and the other. And humans they're disappointing. They just are. Like the fact that like, you know, somebody doesn't call you while the shit is rough for you, that makes sense, because you know what? They're humans, and that's what humans do. And then they call when they need something. Also, that makes sense, but it's kind of like life's too short to hate people like that, in my opinion.
If you know someone for 45 or 50 years...
Hey, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, because especially if you've been wronged and you think you're right, that's almost the worst kind of trap. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, you're right, but you're going to be miserable by having that story over and over again in your head.
Right.
It's not going to put you in a good place.
Right.
It's going to keep you fucking pissed off and manifesting more things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fucking tons of dreams about this shit.
Yeah.
Van Zandt. 40 years I was his friend.
Yeah, so what happened with that? That's what I was listening to right when I got here. So you did Little Steven's Underground. But like, it's weird that you're manifesting lots of these betrayals in your life, though. You have to, like, as a fan of psychology, you have to sort of look at that and go, like, why am I manifesting?
Oh, absolutely.
Tons of these.
Absolutely.
Like, as soon as I see patterns in my life, or I keep happening, like, even if I think they're wrong, which I'm no saint, I think it all the time. But lately when I do it, I'm thinking, okay, why is this happening? What am I doing?
Yes.
So what happened with that?
Well, you're the X factor in all the equations. You're the constant in all the equations. It's all,
Right.
Andy and I go back like 40 years. So that's not like a thing or two things or three things.
That's a lot of things.
We got along when we were drunk, fun kids in a rock band.
Right.
And I think it all started when I became lead singer, and it just grew. It just always clashes every time. All right, Scott. Quickly, I don't want to go. Scott. Quickly, I don't get. I was sitting on a chair in beautiful Italy. Scott was my friend since fourth grade, top 10. Fourth grade, 56 years now, and I'm sitting around going. Scott wrote. He got up on stage with us and wrote, "This band's amazing. I think they should keep their name. I don't think Andy should try to take the name away from them. They are what rock and roll's." He wrote this. I saved it. This beautiful thing. And he was on our side talking to me all the time. And one day my lawyer goes, "He's gone to the dark side.
Yeah, he flipped.
He's gone to the dark side."
He flipped on you.
He flipped. And the thing is, I sat there with Daniel Ray, who worked with the Ramones. I said, "Daniel, why is Scott?" He goes, "I think you said something."
About his band.
About your band. But I said, 55 years, we're grown men. It's like, Scott, I would profusely apologize, say, I don't know what got into me. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry hurt your feelings. Stick my hand out, things will be okay. Instead, nothing ever happened. He just got angrier
But
and angrier.
You could also write him and say, hey, man, if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. You could also take the first step. I
got a friend who's a Republican right-wing judge in Fresno, California. And when I tell him the stories, he tells me simple, in his own words, what you're saying.
Right.
Oh, no. Wrong guy. I do have a judge friend, but this is a guy who was in the Air Force and he's a pilot for American Airlines.
Yeah.
And he just quietly went to me, it's just... you'd be surprised. Just reach out. Just try.
Absolutely, man. Because life is short, and people
Should
might.
we call Ross right now?
Yeah, no.
I ran into get him on the phone.
I ran into one of
those.
He
was on this podcast.
Yeah, I have his number.
One of the guys who wasn't
probably
so
going to block me now that you're on. I mean, this has happened before. We get like band fights, and then I get blocked. It's happened. I'm not going to name names, but it's like, fuck's sake. Anyway,
we had one.
I
guy
love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
It's interesting with all these hardcore New York bands that created all these trends, even like the Ramones,
and have music that's so punk rock.
There's always these feuds,
feelings
that they never managed to get over.
Like the Cro-Mags.
And the fans still want to listen to your music or Cro-Mags, like you said, or whatever, and it's just like the egos or whatever's in play can't just be set aside. And for the music, it's also
because of money.
Over.
When there's a lack of money,
even Black Flag,
that makes things harder too. Like if there's a lot of money for everybody, that solves a lot. Like with Metallica, they can bring in a therapist and then go.
No, but what you talked reminded me of Keith and Henry Rollins' Black Flag and the name and this. It's all over the place. Mm-hmm. With all these influential bands.
Left to my own devices, I always would have thought way back before things got evil that me and Andy made a great team, and then he started disrespecting me. He even told Little Steven that Richard doesn't take his craft seriously. I have no respect how he works. Yeah. Put me down. Little Steven comes to me. This is Andy Chernoff in a nutshell. Little Steven comes to me and goes, I'll give you $10,000 to play 3 songs at the 2004 Underground Garage Festival in Randall's Island. I said, okay. I was in Florida with my family on vacation. Andy goes, I'll do it under one circumstance.
For $5,000.
No, well, yes.
He wanted the 5.
Well, he wanted 5 because even though we were brothers for years, we still owed him thousands of dollars for producing the Dictators.
Right.
Him. So, all right. So I'm still getting money. Okay. And I
You
couldn't
can't mention Manitobas. I know the story.
How do you know the fucking
So let him
Because
tell
you
it.
tell the story.
Let him tell it.
Okay, go
Where
ahead.
do I tell it?
I don't know. Tell it now. I'm listening.
I couldn't mention Manitobas. I said, why? That's how I feed my kid, because it's going to take your focus away from the show. We're doing 3 songs, Andy. So we go like that. So what I did was I got everybody, like Big Pussy, everybody, what's his name, who passed away from California, fucking great guy.
Gandolfini?
No, the guy who did alley oop 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 from 1962. I can't think of people's names. He did the Runaways.
Uh-huh.
You
I know that song, though.
Yeah, that was him. That was the Hollywood Argyles. Fuck, God damn it. Kim Fowley. Okay, so he had Dictators t-shirt on. Big Pussy had Dictators. My old lady came with all her girlfriends.
Not Dictators shirts, Manitoba shirts.
Manitoba shirts. Old lady came with all her girlfriends. I had people announcing right after the show. All I wanted to say was one line. Right after the show, after show party at Manitoba's bar. That's all I wanted. And he was like, not do the show if I said that. So I got everyone else to say it, and he was pissed off. And that was the kind of thing with like, I traveled with the MC5, and I think Rob Tyner got pushed around a bit, and I know Joey got pushed around a bit.
Joey Ramone.
Yeah, and it's like lead singers. I don't know. We get pushed around.
Sometimes.
We get all the
They're the
attention.
sensitive types. I don't know. Yeah, I know what you mean, though. I kind of feel like I get pushed around a little bit here and there, too.
We get all the attention.
The Ramones never changed the lead singer, as opposed to, let's say, Cro-Mags and Black Flag.
Ramones never what?
Changed the lead singer.
Can't replace Joey.
Like
No.
but like in your band, there was a rotation in the lead singer. In Black Flag, there was a rotation in the lead singer. All these feuds.
Well, Joey started out as a drummer.
Cro-Mags had a change in the lead singer. There's a bunch of other ones that you guys just mentioned. There's always like the lead singer syndrome that keeps changing, and with the feuds that go on.
How about the Davies brothers?
Yeah.
How about the
Gallagher's.
Oasis? Yeah, Oasis.
Yeah.
And on and on and on.
Yeah. But, I mean, what would be an interesting experiment if you started working with the Ho'oponopono mantra just within yourself and see the way it affects those relationships without even you ever reaching out. Like
That I would do.
it's an interesting experiment.
That I would do.
It actually does wild shit. It's shocking. 'Cause-
Joe swears by it.
Yeah. But so what happened with Little Steven Underground Garage? Because you were the DJ there for how long?
Listen, I was there 14 years.
14 years.
I'll say this, and I hope everyone hears it. I'm pretty sure I made more money than any other DJ there. Matter of fact, I talked to one of the guys who's
We have Michael DeBar on the podcast here.
Yeah.
And he's working with Little Steven's.
Yeah, but
all
he
these-
does it from LA.
Everybody. I worked with people 14 years. Nobody fucking called me. Nobody.
Did you have your own show?
Well, what happened?
I had my own show on Little Steven's Underground Garage.
What was it called?
The Handsome Dick Manitoba program.
And what were you like playing? What kind
I
of
play.
music?
You play his songs, but
His
see
playlist.
everybody and Sirius has to do things by very rigid, robotic
What are
ways
they? Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
with time. With us, Steve was unbelievably great. I said, Steve, do you mind if I go on the road? He goes, you got 2 weeks paid vacation. Go on the road as much as you want. So what I would do is I would do these 3-week vacations. So 3-week tours. So I would do 3 weeks of pay on tour, and I would take, if it was 4 weeks, I would take a week vacation and do like a week in advance, and so I would never lose out money. The thing is, I was the only 4-hour DJ. I was on drive time in LA. 95% of those of Sirius radio is on cars, more cars in LA than any other city in America. So I was on 5 to 9 in LA and 8 to 12 in New York. And I was on for 14 years. According to Andy, what he said on the podcast was, I saw emails that Steve sent to Richard. If you keep fucking up, you're out of here. If you keep fucking up, you're out. Meanwhile,
What was you fucking up?
whenever Steve thought I fucked up, whatever.
And you have no idea what it was?
Well, he did
The
at
Jewish
the-
Star thing or
two
something?
things.
Should we
One-
get Little Steven on the phone right now?
He won't talk to me. He didn't.
I don't have his number now.
I sent him an email 2 years later, a loving email, and he just ignored me.
He does live around the corner from me.
I know, he lives in
We
the
could
church.
go
I know
knock
where
on
he
his
lives.
door,
So
yeah.
what happened?
Well, I don't know all those bad things he's talking about. As the years went by, like one time I said bad things about Mickey Lee, who was my old friend Joey Ramone's brother. I said bad things about him. He says, you can't do that on my station. Like, I'm friends with him. I said, I was friends with him for years, but blah, 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 blah. I'm friends with Charlotte, Joey's mother. I was
Wait,
friends
Mickey Lee is Joey Ramone's
with
brother?
and Charlotte was Joey's mother. And Charlotte came to my kid's first birthday party and brought him a beautiful gift. And I was friends with Mickey for 25 years, and another one. And then, boom. But I said something bad about Mickey. He made me apologize. I apologized. Then this idiot, I won't even mention his name, he owned the worst rock bar ever in New York City. This idiot who walks around with this stupid hat. You know what I mean.
This guy right here?
No.
Good
far,
one, Poppy.
far more
that
stupid.
hat looks. Joe is wearing a fabulous hat for those.
I
who
love
are
the
listening.
color. It's like
I know. I got it on Halloween. It was going to be my Halloween.
my
costume.
friend Kavanaugh, Patrick Kavanaugh, makes great hats.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, the guy that wears the Asian hat. I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know the guy, but I
Yeah,
see him
yeah,
walking
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
He motherfucked me. I don't want to get. It's too many stories. It's like there's like
There's too
four
much
stories.
resentment.
Yeah, but what's
You got
Four stories
you got
about
too many
him.
wars going on.
Wait a minute. I went to play his club. He threw this big party.
Mm-hmm.
The party was a failure. He promised me, let's just say for a number, $2,000. He said, listen, it's not doing so good. Can I give you $1,000? I go, okay. He goes, listen, I'm really hurting. Would you guys take like $650, something like that? I went, all right. And then he goes, listen, would you do it for nothing? And I go, no, I don't work for nothing. If it's my cousin with cancer, a free concert or something,
Right.
I'm not working for you for nothing. I went down 75%. And so this guy who is a friend of mine, is a friend of mine, guitar player, and he wrote this evil thing about him, and I just thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
And you read it on air?
No, he wrote it online.
Yeah, but you read it on air?
No, I copied and pasted it on one of my personal pages.
Oh, okay.
Copied and pasted it.
Yeah.
Said, this is from my friend.
Right.
This guy got so mad at me, he called up Steven
Right.
to tell me to take it down. And then on the top of his club, you know how you have like hours, beers, the different little categories. He had a me category where he motherfucked me to death.
Right.
He had a me category. He's so evil. And then, where'd we get started with this?
What happened with little Steven?
Steven.
Yeah.
So Steven, I had to apologize to him. So it's like every year he would go to every year. I gotta fucking kick your ass. Ba 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 ba. I know, and remember this. I know Steven since 1978. I've invited him to my parties. He's invited me. I sat in his wife's birthday party with David Chase, and my old lady, and we did a great time. I mean, he owned Manitobas for the most part, and he'd come by all the time and said, let's go out to dinner, let's go to a Broadway show. Like,
You guys were good friends.
we were pals.
Yeah.
We were pals. Respect. Then all the shit hit the fan. I guess, I don't know what Andy's talking about. I saw he was like so happy. He was like this happy guy that I was in pain. I saw the emails. I saw Steve hate Richard. And the funny thing is, Steve and Scott used to make fun of Andy and Scott used to make fun of Steve. I used to go up to them, fellas, do me a favor. You're grown-ups. You can do whatever you want. You could talk however you want. But Steve is a god to me, the way he's treated me. So when I'm in the room, please don't do it. Do it when I'm not around. He doesn't know that. Steve didn't know what was going on in the East Village. Steve didn't know that Mickey Lee came into 2A where I worked in the 90s for 5 years and just talked shit about his brother. And things got good when he died.
Oh,
Steve,
really?
Yes. Steve didn't know that he motherfucked his brother a million times. And if I said, dude, you're my friend. I like you. Joey's my friend. I like him. These are deep waters. I don't want to get involved. Please. Oh, he tried to make that. Well, so you don't understand my side? Like stuff like that.
I didn't know that Joey Ramone had a brother named Mickey Lee. That's interesting.
Well, it's Mitchell Hyman.
Okay,
Richie Blum.
Hi.
Right.
Hyman.
Yeah.
That was my grandfather.
So you were friends with the Ramones?
Oh yeah, I was good friends with Joey.
Yeah.
I was pals with the rest of them. Tommy and I have the same birthdays.
What, just by growing up in the East Village or living in the East? Well, you grew up in the Bronx.
No, there was a legendary club in Queens called the Coventry, where the Dolls played some of their last shows, and we opened up for them, and had some great like soul acts, and it was a really great club on Queens Boulevard. Right down the block was the titty bar called the Merry-Go-Round. It was like 3 poles and girls dancing, and we're drinking beers. Then on the other side was the White Castle, so we were in heaven.
Oh,
I love White Castle.
Oh, White Castle, dude!
I used to eat that in the Bronx. Do you have a tattoo? Oh my God!
White Castle tattoo.
This
And then I
guy.
got Fred Blassie, the wrestler, above him, sharpening his teeth. So the
on tattoos, dude. I've been thinking about getting tattoos again too, because I got a bunch. But I went in and priced some out. This is an aside. It was like these 2 I wanted to get. It's like $700. It's like, man, tattoos are expensive.
It depends where you go to.
It's expensive. Anyway, if you know a guy,
I know a guy who's very
knows a
expensive,
guy?
but he's
It's
like
expensive. It's like,
I mean, look at the work he does.
Who's
yeah,
that?
that's nice.
It's my son.
Oh,
It says mi hijo, mi corazón, my son, my heart.
my heart. And you also had a clobbering time tattoo that I saw that I liked.
Yeah.
Jewish, bar mitzvah.
Really?
Yeah, because there was Jack Kirby, grew up on the Lower East Side.
Yeah.
His name was Benjamin J. Grimm,
Yeah.
and he was,
Ben
Love is
Grimm.
Blind. His girlfriend Alicia was blind. A big comic book guy.
So you were friends with the Ramones.
Very good, good friends with the Ramones. Very good friends with Joey. But if you want to finish the Steve thing up,
Yeah.
because I never want to motherfuck that guy. My best friend and the godfather to my child told me, don't put Steve down, all right? Because I wrote something where I said, like, man, he's really polar. I called him polar because,
Bipolar.
no, just polar. I don't know if there's a difference. No, I don't know, because he was always the same. Giving, loving, giving, loving, loving. And then he decided, I'm doing wrong things. Maybe I'm doing wrong things at the bar. Maybe I'm doing wrong things here. Then with the girl, where I went to jail, he called me a bully and a bigot. And the way he called me a bigot is this was the beginning of my end at Sirius. This is my stupidity, and the only dreams I have and sadness I have and going back that I do is because it's like De Niro in jail and Raging Bull. Stupid, punching the wall.
Right.
Stupid.
Yeah.
And I can't get over that stupid and how stupid I was. It's a job that's so much money for 20 hours a week.
Right.
And another 2 or 3 years in retirement, man, would have made
Makes a
life
big
life.
difference.
But I got to stop going back. That's part of
But that's the Ho'oponopono. It'll
No, what
release you
happened
from
was-
De Niro in the jail. That's what it is.
that. Well, what happened was the mistake, which I haven't told you yet,
Okay.
was the bathrooms were being fixed on the 36th floor. So I go up to 37, and I see this girl's desk, and it's emblazoned with Palestinian stuff. So I took a marker, one of those markers that you highlight, that like you could go like that and it's off on the side, not on her pictures or anything. And it wasn't a picture of her family. It was like, the wacky world of Palestine. And I drew a little quarter-sized Jewish star on the desk. My son, who's so much smarter than me, said, Dad, there's fucking cameras everywhere. So I went to the bathroom. I got a call from, what do they call it, AR? Or,
HR.
HR.
Did you do that? I go, yes, I did. They go, well, it was weird, Richard, because you put your soda down. You did it. The whole thing was like 17 seconds. I said, so how much badness in my heart did I have? I'm more than willing to say to the woman, you're safe. Please, I will never bother you again. It was just a quick, stupid thing I did. I have a family, blah, 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 blah. And they said, she doesn't care that you have a family. And 3 days later, they fired me, straight up. So Steve said he went, and the president of the company, Steve is the godfather to his children. That's how close he is. And he went to like the big
President
shots.
of Sirius.
Yeah, he went to the big shots on top. He said, for 3 days, I fought for you. It's like I couldn't get nowhere. And then this is where he got mad at me, and he never talked to me again. And this is where I say he's polar. Like, 'cause like, now here's the thing. Understand that I do understand this. it's not all like, he hurt me, I'm a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm a strong motherfucker mentally and physically. I'm no fucking victim. But I have two feelings. One is what he did was, to me, like I went to jail for 10 years for an ounce of pot. But, and I wrote a song about this where he was right, actually. He's the boss. He can do whatever the fuck he
and he
wants.
battled for you, and he couldn't flip him. So
no, but
he also has somebody he has to answer to.
No, but that's not why he fired. That's not why he got mad at me. He has a certain way about him. I think he thinks he's like a real soprano. He has a certain way about him.
Well, being in the Sopranos that long would probably have an effect.
Dude, I can mention.
I can go see Rocky and suddenly I'm a boxer. If I was in the Sopranos for how many years, I would definitely be carrying a little of that with me for the rest of my life.
I think he was best friends with the guy from the Plasmatics. Why can't you guys help me? Black guy with
that's Ehud's job.
Black guy with the blonde mohawk.
Plasmatics.
Black guy with the blonde mohawk.
Hold on.
I can't think of his name. That's only because when I'm on the air, I can't think of names.
Maybe that's why you got fired. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was so good on the air. I would totally like fuck up and just make fun of myself, and Anyway, they were crazy glued together. Never saw them apart for 5 years. One day, I never saw them again. I asked everybody in the office. I said, "We can't talk about it." So it's like that. Then I don't know the details of this, but he was doing this 40-year reunion. They never played for 40 years of the Rascals. He had a problem with one of the guys. I heard he's got, he, in his world, he's got his fights. I'm sure he thinks he's right and someone else is a motherfucker. So it's like, really, everybody does
nature.
it.
Everybody has it.
Everybody has it. So the thing was, he said, this is what we're doing. We're not calling a press conference. We're going to tell people that Richard left to follow his music career. I got like 15 emails like the next day. Like, what do you mean? Richard's working on music. He's working on songs. He's doing this. He is following his musical career. What do you mean he left it? And I sent 3 emails to Stephen and to the president saying, fellas, please, can we not say I left to follow my musical career? It's so lame to say that. Can we come up with something better? They never answered me. I was like a 60-year-old guy at the time, 62, whatever. And to me, that's a slap in the face. They never answered me. They ignored my pleas. So I went online. I did the wrong thing. I should have just ate it. I went online and I talked about this Jewish star and the Palestinian thing, and he was like furious, like that I didn't do what he said.
Oh,
to say that I'm leaving to my musical.
So
career.
you told the truth about what happened, basically.
Yeah, and
why wouldn't they want you to do that? Like, it seems to me. That's not any dirt on them. That's something you did. You got in trouble for it. The story doesn't seem, to me, to hear the story, it doesn't like reflect badly on little Steven, to me. Like, just hearing it, it's like he went to bat for you. The guy said no. And then it was like, sorry, bud.
But that's the interesting thing you bring up.
What?
That's personal. What bothered him more than the Star of David, where he went to fight for me, was that I didn't listen to the way he said, you're leaving.
Right.
And I went online.
But it was like a lame excuse, like you said.
And a lot of people don't agree with this. It's like, okay, let's have a Palestinian desk here. I want a Jewish desk over there. Hey, what's the guy who was in the Ku Klux Klan and he was in Congress?
David Duke.
It's not against the law. I want a picture of David Duke and I want Southern flags. Why not? Why not? Let's keep every fucking thing off. Have a picture of your family. If the Palestinians have it be very, very personal. It's like, don't be political in an office like that, because if everybody was political, everybody would be banging heads. Like that's offensive. That would be offensive to me.
But it's on her desk. Can't she express herself how she wants to
sure.
on her desk?
And the danger with
that,
like
if you had a desk with Jewish stars all over it, I don't think anybody would be mad about that.
Yeah, but the thing is,
but then if somebody like vandalized your desk,
is a black guy allowed to be mad at Southern flags and David Duke?
That's different.
Why? If that's what somebody believes in, there are many millions of Americans that believe in the Southern flag and David Duke, and they voted for George Wallace, and it's part of America as much as it's an ugly part of America. To me, it's volatile.
Right.
So I say keep it down to family, dogs. You want to put your little Palestinian flag, your little Jewish flag. Keep a little corner or something. Have this fucking big thing emblazoned. It's not titillating, but it's almost aggressive. It's almost like, if I had a Jewish thing next to it.
Provocative.
Provocative. Thank you. We got a word.
Took me a second.
So that's why he was mad. Then he said to me, I'm a bigot, which I don't understand because I think he's pro-Israel. And then he says, I'm a bully. And the only thing I could think why he's a bully is because of the fight I got in with my son's mother. And, I gladly not put her down and tell you what happened if you want to know. Or if that's not right for your show, I understand.
Oh, feel free.
It's your story.
It's hurt my career terribly. Mm-hmm. And why it's hurt my career terribly, I think my friend down in Nashville put it very succinctly. He said, Richard, in Rolling Stone, in Variety, in everything that counts in the world you live in music, the last big thing you did wasn't an album. The last big thing you did wasn't marrying, Bridget Bardot or whatever. The last big thing you did wasn't, the last big thing people saw was that you were in jail and you had a fight with a woman and you hit a woman, and you go down Google, there'll be 6 or 7 things and then a couple of those. It's not really on the top, but it's there. And if I told 100 people that at the end, when it was over, of course, the bad news is on page 2, the good news is on page 26. If I told people that I pled guilty to disorderly conduct, I'd say 9 out of 10 people would just go, Richard fucked up, right? But they don't know what disorderly conduct is. My lawyer called me up. This great Jewish lawyer I got. He's a kickboxer. He's an old school fucking tough guy. And he looked at the paperwork when I went down to his office. And he went, Richard, this is the world of Me Too. This is absolute bullshit. And he knew who she was. And he knew who I was. And that's important. This is absolute bullshit. So I felt really good. So we went to court once. The judge was this really mean woman. Like what happened was things were boiling up, and she wasn't the most faithful person in the world by a long
She got into an altercation with your son, right?
Well, you're good. You're a good kid. Well, what happened was I just walked away from her because she was basically not being loyal for a very long time, and I'm not going to guess how many people, but this one was the big one. And she said something to me while she was drunk. And there are people like my friend Bob, he just put a book out, Bob Duncan, who's from San Francisco. He just put a book out. He's a great writer, great guy.
What's the book called? Bob Duncan?
Duncan, yeah. Oh, it's a great book. He wrote a book called he wrote a book in the 70s. It's called something about, there was a whole chapter on me when I was an addict. Me and my girl getting up 17 times during dinner to call to see if our dealer was in yet.
Don't you love drugs? I'm just kidding. But the things drugs make you do. It's crazy.
It's probably in just look it up. It's Loudmouth or something.
Bob Duncan, what is it? Is a novel?
It's
poetry or rock and roll?
No, it's rock and roll.
Loudmouth. Novel by Robert Duncan.
It's a novel.
Here's a drinker with a good sense of humor. He's had 5 Guinness in my bar. He's with 6 or 7 friends visiting from San Francisco. He goes, listen, everybody, I wanted to get you guys together because I didn't want to do it with, I wanted to do it with the humanity of being with each other rather than online. But I have to go in for a little bit of a surgery. And everyone's, Bob, you okay? Yes, I'm okay, but that's why I'm telling you now in person, because I don't want you to worry. I want you to look at my face and not worry, okay? I'm going to be in 24 hours, Everything's going to be fine. Well, what kind of operation is it? What kind of operation? This guy had 5 years. He goes, I have to get a penis reduction operation. So that's
He's joking?
Me. What?
He's joking.
He was joking.
Right.
Well, maybe. I never
how
checked.
big could it be?
I never checked.
Okay.
But the point is, that to me is a good drunk. I just want to have fun and be with my friends. My old lady, 2 drinks, you know, she had like American Indian blood in her. Supposedly American Indians can't deal with alcohol very well.
The alcoholism thing.
And she was like saying to me, you know, she said something to me like, it's possible to be in love with 2 people at the same time. And that's when, that was like, okay, this last 16 years just came to a halt. And
How long ago was this?
This was 2018.
So not long ago, really, considering it was a long relationship and she's the mother of your child. And
Well, was it 2018, February 2018, February 2019, February 2020? Yeah, it'll be 3 years, February 2021, yeah. So I stormed off, went home. She came home later, drunk. And my son said this. My son, he told me that Mom was really, really screaming. I woke up and she looked like ferocious. And I just said, don't you dare touch him. And then supposedly he said she pushed him against the door. The front door, I live in this building from 1964. The front door is like brick shit houses, like metal. So she pushed him against, no, she didn't smash his head, but she pushed him hard against the door, according to his words. He went to school, and then I woke up, and then what happened was when I woke up, like I had worked for 16 years, and she had worked for 0. And I said, I want you to learn how to become a writer. I want you to spend 5-6 hours a day sitting at that table. That's what you want to do. That's what your father did successfully all his life. I want you to become a writer. So I'll work. We're making enough money we could be comfortable. We went on vacations every year for 2 weeks. So what happened was she lost her iPhone. If you know anything about iPhones, like if you lose it and there's 10 months left of payments, you got to keep paying it for 10 months. So let's say there was $400 left to pay, right? You have to pay it. So she had no money. So I see $400 sticking out of her boyfriend's book. He's a writer. She's actually, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's from what I understand, he's a very respected, well-known
San
writer.
Francisco.
In L.A. No, that's my buddy.
Oh, okay.
L.A.
From L.A.
And I said, let me take 200. Could I put 200 toward the 400, and then I don't have to make payments for like 4 months for like your thing? She goes, give me my money back. I go, listen, like I've never asked you for any money in 16 years. It's like you lost your phone. I'm paying off the phone, and you have 400. You keep 200, and help me get rid of your bill. Just help me, and you still have 200. She goes, give me my fucking money. She got in front of me. She gets right in my face, and she winds up, and her hands are bigger than mine. She has like the Seinfeld episode when he went on a date, and he goes, she has man hands. She was 140, 145 pounds. It's like 5'8". She had big, powerful hands, and she smashes me in the ear, 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 smashes me in the ear. I bit her nose. So people laugh at that, right? I bit her nose. There was a mark. Now, if my son understands the law, depending on every depth of damage, it's more of a crime. If you break someone's nose, it's a different crime. If you leave a permanent mark, it's a different crime. If you leave a little mark I left, which went away, it's very mild. So she calls the cops. I'm trying to call the cops at the same time. 5 cops come up. I know all of them. I'm friends with all of them. I live down the block. I've been going to cop meetings for 20 years for Manitoba's bar. So I know everybody.
This is in the East Village?
Yeah, the 9th precinct. I know everybody there for 20 years. Even the retired guys. I got like 12 of them. I meet them. I don't drink, but I go out drinking with them, like when they come to town. Mm-hmm. So they come up. They tell the story. They look at her nose. They look at my ears. And by the way, the next day we were the next day, my son looked at my ears. He said, "Your ears are really red." But that didn't count like this. The girl made the call. The girl had the mark. And she said, she grabbed me by my throat. To me, I don't think I grabbed her by her throat like to choke her. I think I just was like, grabbed her like you'd push somebody in their chest. I just went like that. Supposedly the next week, she went out a week later to one of these like all night, like, come on in, walk in doctor stores. And she bought like a harness around her shoulder because I so savagely beat her. So all my life, I had wondered about the tombs. That's what you hear about, the tombs. You're in the system, the tombs. This motherfucker handcuffed me, fingerprinted me, took me down to the tombs. For some reason, I wasn't nervous. I don't know if I should say this on the air, but I was hipped by certain people.
Hipped? To how to deal with it?
Yes. Like when you first get in there, you're going to see a lady at a desk, and she's going to ask you questions like really fast. Are you on any drugs? You're on any medication? Do you have any disorder? Do you have this? Like that. And they're the Department of Correction. And if you say yes to anything, you go to Bellevue for 24 hours and back to the tombs. So I said, no. So then
it's good information right there.
They walked me upstairs. And I'm in jail. I'm in fucking jail. And I still wasn't nervous. And there was metal bunks around the perimeter of the jail. Everyone was sleeping, except this young black kid about 21 and this Spanish kid about 35. He was laying down relaxing. The black kid was freaking out because he thought he was going to go to Rikers. And, that's like pure, like new meat in Rikers. And he kept asking me, and, I don't fucking know, but I tried to I felt bad for the kid. I said, kid, listen, you jumped a few turns. I really don't think they want you in Rikers. I don't know for sure, but I just calm down, all right? Relax, because I don't think
he was in for jumping turnstiles?
Something like that. Some minor shit. I don't know what the Spanish kid was in. But all I know is, why was I comfortable? I was like OG. You know what I mean? Like I'll walk down the street with my son, and black guys will go, yo, little one, pay attention to your OG, because he knows his shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I do, because I grew up in playgrounds in the Bronx. I'm 66 years old, so I earned these stripes. So I think they just respected me. I was like an older guy. I was like cool, calm. I had tattoos, whatever. So we're talking. We have nice conversations between the three of us. Here comes the funny part. So they're about to, what they hand you is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like in England, you close the bread, you can't see the peanut butter and jelly. Mm-hmm. Then they give you like a third grade cup of 8-ounce milk and a banana. So then I ate the shit. I ate it. What the fuck? Let me fill my stomach up. I don't know when the next time I'm going to eat.
Right.
So I'm there for about an hour and a half. Here's the good part. The two cops that brought me in, I know, were like sleeping already upstairs outside the DA's office. And this is what they said. They said, DA's going to call you in. You could talk to the DA or you don't have to talk to the DA. You understand, Richie? You could talk to the DA, and they went like this. Or you don't have to talk to the DA. So I went, okay, I understand. It's up to me.
So they were trying to tell you not to talk to the DA.
Well, what they said was you could talk to the DA or you could not talk to the DA. You could talk to the DA or you could not talk to the DA. They were letting me know my choices, and I got the feeling mm-hmm. that it would be better for me not to talk to the DA.
Right.
Because, after all, the DA wants to be against me, right? Mm-hmm. So they're like sleeping on the bench because we're there 2 hours. You know what the good part of this is? I'm handcuffed to a chair for 2 hours. You know the good part? It's time served. If not for that, and I went right down to jail, I'd be there 4 hours instead of 2 hours I was in jail. So I go to jail for 2 hours. I go like this to the bars, and I go, Richard, if this isn't your wake-up call, then you're the dumbest person in the world.
Wake-up call for what?
For getting your life together.
But you were already sober.
That's part of getting your life together. You can still fuck up your life.
I understand that. So, what did you mean, by Just being in a toxic relationship.
Yeah, toxic relationship, and what I do a lot in therapy is like why
Why are you manifesting this?
toxic relationships?
Yeah.
Why? Like my first therapist I had, who was amazing, she said, "Why are you going out with someone who's on this and who does this and who does this?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "I don't know. She was really hot, and I was really attracted to her, and you know, so I saw a phone booth in the jail, and I had a quarter in my pocket. Oh shit, a phone booth!" Spanish guy goes, "Yo, Holmes, it's 50 cents," and he flips me a quarter. So I go, "Great, thanks, bro." And then this little black woman comes by and goes, "Manitoba, come on, let's go." And I go, "Oh, I was just let's go right now." So I just go, "All right, yo, bro, thanks." It's like I gave it back to him. So then they take me into a tiny cell with 2 other guys. And then I get the free lawyer come by in 20 minutes. And there's a phone booth in there. But now I only had a quarter.
You should have kept it.
Right. So I talked to the lawyer, really cute little Jewish girl with a pierced nose and curly blonde hair. And I'm still not scared. All my life, I'm going to be scared. Tombs, I'm going to be scared. You know when I got scared? And I've been in this situation 5 times in my life. When I walked into court. Mm-hmm. That motherfucker that comes out, sits on that bench, has your life in her or his hands. So my lawyer comes over to me and whispers in my ear, "I didn't know that I'm dealing with punk rock royalty." I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, the court stenographer, he's a Dictators fan. So I said, "Too bad the judge isn't." So the judge basically threw me fucking to the wolves. And that was another song I was going to write that my friend who just wrote this book said that's a great idea for a story, a song, a book. It's called 93 Days. That's how many days I was out of my house.
Wow.
That I own. And I was not allowed to go by there. I was not allowed to do this. This lasted for 2 years. She put a thing on me against her for 2 years. And
Restraining order?
Restraining order.
Yeah, for 2 years.
So 93 days you weren't allowed to go to your crib.
I went to a Brooklyn hotel for a few days.
But you didn't have to go to jail. You was time served.
No, not unless I fucked up.
Right.
I went to Brooklyn Hotel for a few days, a friend's house in Jackson Heights for a few days, one of my bartender's house in Brooklyn for a few days, back to his house, back here. And then my good friend Tom Clark, who's a great musician. He asked Jesse about him.
I know Tom Clark. Great musician.
I threw a big party for all my lawyer friends, cop friends, doctor friends, all my friends that
Did you stay at Tom's house in the East Village?
71 days.
Wow. I went to Thanksgiving last year at his place. He throws a Thanksgiving party.
He didn't invite me this year.
Great house.
His house
or apartment or whatever.
He used to have a house right over the Manhattan Bridge in Brooklyn. Like as you got over the bridge, if you look to the left, there were these like old shacky looking houses, probably from the 30s. Yeah. He lived there for like 18 years. And his upstairs neighbor, here we go with the names, was everybody who dies, dies.
Jim Carroll.
His upstairs neighbor was Jim Carroll. And he threw parties. That was it was famous for
wow.
those. And I didn't go to that one. He didn't invite me to that one.
Well, don't cop a resentment on him.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it might have been last minute.
I got enough. I got one more guy I stopped talking to. After he had a kid, he became somebody he was a great guy, and he had a kid, and I couldn't be around him anymore. But that was a different thing. That was just like, I can't be around him anymore. He's too nuts with his kid. So she said 93 days. I moved around. Thank God for Tom Clark.
Amazing that he let you stay there for 71 days.
We only got in like 2 arguments, and he was such a... Well, listen, I mean, I do loving things back. When Tom broke his fibia, he's so fucking hard-headed, he wouldn't go get welfare. I said, Tom, that's what welfare is for. It's for people that work, want to work, and can't work.
Right.
And he wouldn't do it. So we threw a big, Patty Smith, Lenny Kay, we raised a few $1,000s for him, and we helped him.
Right.
And Tom and I were always like that. There's always a lot of love between me and Tom, you know? And he put me up for 71 days. He gave me his bed. He slept on the couch. It was like when I came time to thanking everybody, I had a sheet of paper at this big expensive party I threw at the Beauty in Essex, or one of Chris Santos's places. I got to Tom and I started crying. I couldn't hold back the tears because he did that for me.
Yeah.
And so the end of the story with this is I started taking drugs again, pills, because they were always around the house. And one of my psychologists said, I can't believe you didn't take it in 15 years. And then I started taking pills on and off for a year and a half. And then I stopped. And then I said really nasty things like, I hate your fucking guts. Get the fuck out of here. And she did. She goes, I pushed you pushed me into another man's arms. So all her girlfriends who are like 50 years old, they're like, that's such bullshit. That's your son. That's a guy who lived 16 years who supported you. She's a tough girl. She's a streetwise girl. You stand up and you go, fuck you. You took the pills. You know what I mean? I didn't take them. You didn't have to take them. It's like, I'm not fucking going anywhere. And you know what? I would have backed down. I was just letting steam off because I never wanted to get high again. And I'm back 5 years, even though the weird thing is it's 36 years without a drink, and I had a bar for 20 years. But in the middle of my 36 years...
That's wild. That's incredible.
I took drugs for a year and a half. So then...
Well, that's one day at a time.
Yeah, then I'm
it's
back.
It's always one day at a time.
I'm back. Everything in life is one day
We all have one day.
And then the best phone call I got after all this Michigas was my lawyer going, Richard, I got some good news. Wait, let me get coffee. I'm in bed. So I went and get my coffee. What is it? He goes, you're going to get $100. You can go to court, and you're going to plead guilty to disorderly conduct. If you went into a bar and you started screaming and yelling, acting like a nut,
that's what you
screaming
would
and
get.
yelling, acting like a nut, and they call the cops, and you were screaming, yelling like a nut, they would take you outside, they would talk to you, say, listen, we don't want to lock you up, but we're giving you a ticket. It's called disorderly conduct. It's called a violation.
Yeah.
It's not called a crime, and that was his
Not
goal
a
with me.
misdemeanor or
I
anything.
never committed a crime in my life. I committed a violation. But the interesting thing that my son tells me, to me it's interesting, Marines, you have to be such a friggin' perfect person to get in. If you were ever arrested, which I was, you can't get in the Marines. Arrested.
So you're never going to be a Marine.
Not at this stage.
You'll be all right.
Or a president for that.
No, the Marine that's going to be when he graduates. I'm going to get proud father of a Marine, of a U.S. Marine. That's what I'm going to get. That's the second one.
So you and him been living together since that fallout?
He chose.
with
That's what I tell people. People who don't like me, they send me nasty emails. You know, I don't know who they are, and they go, "I heard you were a bit unhinged." I laugh at that because I know what my psychological and emotional makeup is. I've studied myself for years. I know what I did wrong. I know the work I have to do. To me, I'm a good guy because I'm trying to do the work. I'm trying to be a better person. I'm gonna take you up on that, and I'll
send you mantras.
as long as it's not crossing the border. As long as it's staying inside.
Oh yeah, you don't have to cross any borders. It's just within your.
I love it.
It's within yourself,
Dude.
and you see how it shifts things. It'll blow your mind.
I'm willing to believe
if
you.
you're a little relentless with it in terms of just like I put it on sometimes. I'll send you an 8-hour one that you can put on in the background when you sleep. It just filters into your subconscious. It just helps you let all that shit go.
You seem like a really bright guy, and emotionally together guys.
I have my moments too.
I didn't say you seem perfect.
Yeah.
Calm down, Bob.
Yeah, let's take a chill pill, kid.
Yeah.
So he called me up, and that was it. And then I had her with a lawyer. I had her leave the house because I own the house, and we couldn't go to court because we couldn't afford to go to family court, and it could drag on for years. And she wanted to be with this guy anyway.
Right.
And things like my son, unfortunately, was privy to some of her private things with him.
Right.
He said, Dad, come here, I got to show you something.
Right.
Why? Go downstairs. We got to go downstairs. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But like it's like wait till you get out of the house. Like I never ever cheated once. Everyone's different. Some people don't believe in that. Some people believe in that. Everyone's different. But if I find a girl that I like and I'm really attracted to, I'm willing to give up that one night of excitement. It's like that one piece of chocolate cake, and then you wake up in the morning, and now you have all these other feelings floating around. Like maybe I want more. Maybe I want a threesome. If you don't water the garden, I fooled around and fell in love. It stays with us as long as it's good. As long as it's good. So that's it. She left, went there. Saw her for 2 minutes when I did a road trip with Jake. Jake decided he's living with me. He wanted to live with me. And
Jake, your son.
I'm a great father. I'm a really I'm a microscopic father. On my phone, I got every detail about his health. I talk to people in his school 2, 3, 4 emails a week. It's pure love. It's pure love. It's man, child love to me is the greatest love I've ever known by far. It's amazing, and
thank God for that.
For him, yeah. And the way and the doctor from Bellevue, he said the way you are, the way his mother is, the way he is, it's an absolute fucking miracle.
That he turned out wanting to be a Marine. And
he's never smoked a joint. He's never had a drink. I was already a junkie when I was 17, 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I have a heroin song on my album called "The Cooker and the Hit." It's not the needle and the damage done, but I never claimed to be Neil Young.
Which member of the Dictators was in L.A.?
Was living in L.A.?
Yeah.
Scott.
Because back in
only for like the last bunch of years.
Oh, really? Not recently, or a long time ago.
Living,
I'm talking about like in 1990, like 99 or something like that.
I don't think he was there 21 years.
Huh. Well, there was. I think there was a member of the Dictators that was associated with the Musicians Assistance Program. For addiction, and they took me to a meeting. I was working in a studio with T-Bone Burnett, and I was having an issue, and I reached out to MAP, Musicians Assistance Program, and I think it was a member of the Dictators came and picked me up, take me to a meeting.
I don't think there was. You might be making a mistake.
Maybe I am.
Because I'm thinking of everyone. Scott was the only one that was there for a period of time, and he was never a program guy.
Okay, then I'm making a mistake.
But he just got thrown out of his fourth marriage. I call him the Zsa Zsa Gabor of punk.
What about you? Are you dating anyone new or?
No, it's the most difficult thing is, let's see. Again, about a year ago, I picked a total fucking loser, like a fucking crackhead. Like Jake said, Dad, she's a crackhead. But
yeah, you want to stay away from the crackheads.
I know. And the one before that was 41 years old.
That's a pro tip.
The one before that was 41 years old. And, I don't want to talk too much about her because I do like her and respect her, but she's pushed me out of her life. We had a very strange, deeply emotional, I wrote a song about it called My Left Coast Doll or something. Mm-hmm. It was an iPhone romance. I mean, there were times we talked 2 to 30 times a day.
Wow.
And I went out there, we hung out, me, Jake, and her. She came here, we hung out. And she had really giant boobs. It really turned me on. Mm-hmm. And
that'll do that.
And she was short. She was short. I'm surprised she could stand up straight.
Oh, man.
But... so that was good, but now here's what I call the quote problem unquote. I'm 66, but I'm like up bipolar. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like
hypomaniac.
Yeah, I'm like hyper.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not like out of my mind hyper either. You
got energy.
I'm fucking the lead singer of the Dictators.
Yeah,
you're
youthful.
Formally.
Who hired you?
Formally of the Dictators.
All right, so
we don't want to get fined here
I'm
by
66.
by the lawyers for.
I'm 66. I got a fucking piece of fucking steel in here. Not even steel, titanium.
In your hip.
I could still play basketball with my son. I still go to the gym 2 hours a day. I lift weights. I do a half hour, 20 minutes on the bicycle, and I can't like run and through stuff and jump it like I used to, but I'm like that, and I'm still virile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm still good 2-3 times a week. You know, if I have to be, if it's a new girl, maybe.
If you practice semen retention, it's nonstop, brother.
Could be more. If it,
Could be way more.
I mean, in fact, when I met Jake's mother, which I was in my 40s, my dick broke. I fucked her so much, my dick broke.
For real?
Well, it didn't break like I had to go to a doctor. It was just like I couldn't get it up if you gave me $1 million check. Like we fucked like 17 million times in one. You know, it was just it was insane. I'm the Olympic sex champion.
Handsome Dick had a broken dick.
I had a broken dick.
Is that where the name Handsome Dick is from?
Believe me, I actually would change it if I could because it just brings on too many jokes. It's a bad guy wrestling name, you know.
It's a good one.
I'd be like Hollywood Dick Manitoba, but I'm not Broadway. New York. I should have been Broadway Dick Manitoba.
So what happened to the left coast iPhone girl?
She liked to drink.
Oh, you got to get a sober girl.
I said I don't want her to hear this. You might be popular. She liked to drink.
Oh, we are.
She also she was with someone.
Oh.
And she was visiting, and she really came on to me. And I mean, I really liked her.
Is she like a fan?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Well, you're not giving him like
Well,
you're not giving him
just
full credit.
asking.
You're saying it was like
No, I'm just
Well, it
asking.
started out like that, but we got to know each other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, and she's very young for me now. I mean, here's the thing: I'm 66.
what? She's in her 40s. That's not that bad.
I'm 66. 40s, 50. Even, listen, 2 gorgeous girls I had in the last couple of years were 52, 53. But you go on these dating sites, you got to be fucking kidding me. I will go the rest of my life without getting laid rather than lay down in bed with that human being. They are hideous. And they go, what's the #1 rated? You got to be kidding me. So I'm 66, and I need a good-looking, hot girl from 45 to 55 who takes good care of themselves. Good-looking, hot girl, good body. I don't care if the tits are a little flabby, you know. I don't mind because they're fun to, you know, to fucking, they're fun. It's like Play-Doh, you know. It's like fun to mold. And
This guy.
I just need someone loyal, and fun.
I think
and
sobriety is a key.
Yeah, you
I
need
think
to,
if
like,
you
change
try.
there's a
the
lot of nuts in
priorities there.
sobriety, brother.
Well, no, that's true for sure. But I mean,
because they're all coming from problems.
There's also ones that are not sober from former addicts. There's also just people that never deal with that shit.
Okay.
If you found one of them,
Never had an
like
problem.
Like you can find them. They're out
You're
there.
sober?
Yeah, I
He's
don't
never-
drink because I don't like it.
You're
Doesn't
like my
taste.
son.
Yeah, it
You
just.
could be in the Marines.
Yeah.
I was in the army for
He
4
was in
years.
the army.
You were? In
I
Israel?
know I look
Israeli army,
24, but 20
In
years
Israel?
ago I was in
Yeah.
the army. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got really pissed
I
off
don't know if
about
you look 24.
I'm joking.
Thirty
Yeah,
or
obviously. Speaking of Israel, you toured with Kiss.
I played it.
Because Chaim is from from Haifa.
Chaim Klein.
Chaim.
Ginat?
What? Gene Simmons. Chaim
Chaim Klein, his name.
Klein. I thought it was Weiss, but yeah, I guess
I think it was Chaim Ginat or Chaim Klein.
Chaim.
Well, what was Paul Stanley's name? Stanley Eisen.
He's also Jewish.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Stanley
know that.
Eisen. The only 2 Jews.
But what years did you tour with Kiss?
In the 70s,
When they were they were already Kiss.
they were playing arenas.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I also saw them play during the first gas shortage, where people waited an hour online. Like 10 different lines of cars would be trying to get into a gas station, and everybody took their turn. You know, one car went, then one car went. It took you an hour to get $5 of gas because there was so little gas. And that's when we went to the Coventry, and we would see guys like Joey Ramone, even before he was in the Ramones, hanging out there. And we saw Kiss play there, and I guess one of their early
shows.
concerts.
Yeah. I think I saw photos from there. So then the Dictators opened up for them?
We did in a couple of arena venues because Sandy Pearlman and Murray Krugman were owed favors because we gave Kiss, we gave Kiss shows opening up for Blue Oyster Cult. But this is one of the stories I would tell when I get together with my guys. Stop and just tell the Kiss. Who wants to hear the Kiss story? Who wants to hear this story? But the Kiss story was funny. You know the Kiss story?
No.
I know it.
Oh, you know it.
I don't.
But tell it.
All right. Well, there goes my live performances.
For Joe Burns, tell it.
Shout out Joe Burns.
Kiss was not like we hung out with Bruce Springsteen and we laughed with the E Street Band. Too. We laughed with the E Street Band. They were regular guys. They were just regular guys who were doing really well, but they knew how to treat regular guys like regular guys. Gene, to me, I don't know him well, but to me, he seems like this guy, if you kiss his ass properly, it's okay. And if you don't, or if you act too familiar, you're not okay. And with us, if you know us, we fuck with everybody. Like, it's like, Gene, no, what's going to be? We would like talk to him like that. and we'd say things to him and he'd come back with really nasty things. And he just wasn't very nice to us. And I wouldn't say we weren't very nice to him. I'd say we acted the way we did with everybody. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't in his realm.
You didn't kiss the ring enough.
That's what I think. You know, like
right.
I say, I don't know him well, but I'm basing it on the experiences I had. Mm-hmm. And so we play like a night or two, big arenas, 14,000, 16,000 seats. And I see Paul Stanley going like, I hear Cleveland is a hot rock and roll town. And people would go nuts. Now we come out, I see 14, I'm playing CBGBs, 300 people, 200 people, 80 people. It's like 14,000 people. I can't absorb it. It's like I'm looking around at a sea of people. I don't know what to do with that. It's out of my realm of experience. So I just come out and just like sort of like a robot, and then I get off stage. Nobody gave a shit that we were there. And then the next night I'd hear, I hear Des Moines is a hot rock and roll town, and everyone goes nuts.
You did the Paul Stanley.
That's when I figured out
I
will never be a big rock star. I can't do that. So the next night we came out.
What did he do on that night?
Next night we came out, and let's tell you, it's Youngstown. So I start the show.
You got to do the
I hear Youngstown is a hot rock and roll town. And people went nuts. And they threw us off the tour.
Yeah.
Because you stole Paul's line.
I opened up the show with it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's funny as hell.
What did he do that
There's
night?
YouTube clips of just Paul Stanley doing that.
His things are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, just him, just the banter. Paul Stanley banter for hours.
Yeah, just clips of his banter on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, just him doing that.
This next song is
Yeah.
a cappella. That means
really funny?
without music.
Marky Ramone's one of the dumbest people I ever met. And I tell you what.
Tell us how you really feel.
What?
I said, tell us how you really feel.
I'm gonna do this even though because all these guys I was friends with in the hallways and friendly with me and talked to me and we laughed for 14 years. Again, none of them ever called me, got in touch with me, except there were a few. So this guy I know who produces Mark's show, he had this guy come on with his wife, and I know them. They design singles, so they have a book of singles. So Mark, you can hand Mark a sheet of paper of exactly what to say.
That's Spencer Drake?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Holy
that
shit.
too.
Yeah.
We know Spencer.
Spencer and Judith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know them.
You
Shout
can
out.
hand,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, shout out to them. No, but
You
anyway.
can hand Mark a piece of paper telling him what to do exactly, and he'll fuck it up. It's like this other guy is really smart and really talented, and he does all the work for Mark. And we used to just walk down the hall like laughing about it. Hey, you know, Mark did, his wig was on all backwards today and all this shit. But the funniest thing, it's a short line, so just it's not like a big laugh. He goes like, today we have Spencer Drake coming on with his wife, Judith. They got a book on singles. They did a book. It's a very thick book. you have to hear him saying it.
Right.
I have it on
get
tape.
it. It's funny.
It was like, it's a book. It's a very thick book.
It's
a
got
very
letters
interesting book.
and words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
pictures.
That's what it was like.
Yeah.
You know, but see, there's like the Spanish kid that was on the Spanish stations who grew up. His father taught him rock and roll. He loved Kiss. He loved rock and roll. And he's a great baseball player. And he got a kid. And him and I are still loving friends. One of the retired cops for 29 years who signed an affidavit for me, just in case I wanted Jake. I got firemen, policemen. I got my friends who were insanely rich lawyers, successful lawyers, doctors signing shit. And this guy's a 29-year cop and detective. And he said, I've seen Richard come up here a million times. My son would come up there, man. This is why I feel so bad. He'd go in, my son loves Eminem. He'd go into the Eminem studio, man. And all these big women with big asses and big hips and big tits and skin tight clothing, and they're all sitting in there in the Eminem studio. And we were friends with one of the famous DJs up there, and he loved Jake. And I would walk in there, and they go, "That your boy? Yeah, he's a cool kid." Like my kid just
Eminem.
No, Eminem was there. Eminem was there once. You were like, it was like the offensive line of like the Giants, like around him. And he's a little skinny white boy. You know, you couldn't even get near him. I went to take a picture. I goes, "You can't do that." And I said, "Dude, look at the picture. It's through double pane glass. It's like nothing." Goes, "Oh, all right." It didn't come out.
Right.
But yeah.
Wait. So no, let's finish that story. So what were you talking about with the studio and Eminem and your kid and all the girls?
I feel bad because my kid used to love to come up and visit. A lot of kids that visit. I used to visit my father in his shoe store.
Oh.
He visits me, and like he goes into like Eminem's studio, and there's a famous DJ there who travels all around the world. You know, like he'll play in Egypt to like 80,000 people. You know, and he loved Jake. He got along.
So why do you feel bad? What are you feeling bad about?
He
doesn't do
feel
that
bad
anymore?
That he can't do that anymore. I have a few friends. One of them didn't talk to me, and I was mad at him. I saw him backstage at a concert. We looked at each other, and we hugged. So, see, that worked. That was good.
Yeah.
We just looked at each other and hugged.
Yeah.
And I said, "Listen, dude,
Squash
I was
the
pissed
beef.
off." I said, "I was pissed off at you." And he's like, "Oh, I always loved you, Richard." You know, like, so that was cool.
Yeah.
So,
We gotta do a follow-up in a couple of months with him to see how he did.
See if the Ho'oponopono
Yeah,
works
if it
out.
worked for you or not.
I'm going to come in sitting zen and like a Buddhist.
Well, Jesse Mallon was like hot on us getting you here, right?
Well, yeah, Jesse thought you would be a great guest.
Yeah, he gave me a list to ask you about.
The last thing I wanted to mention, I don't want to take up all your time, but the last thing I wanted to mention about that is the people, like one guy you mentioned on the show. I find it disheartening that I asked them to be on my podcast, and they all went like, "Oh, you're putting me between a rock and a hard place, Richard. Why did you say bad things about Steven? You know, this is my job." Like, wait a minute. You can't come and talk to me on my podcast because Steven doesn't like me and fired me? Like, what kind of fucking dick sucking is that? That is some big time dick sucking, man. And one guy, I won't mention his name, came on. And that's what you call
Mensch.
Fuck, he's the Jew.
I would not know to say that.
Oh, you're from Israel.
I'm not a Jew. And I got it.
You fucking nailed it.
I nailed it.
You nailed it.
Well, that's good, man. I mean, listen, you know, the thing is human beings and human nature is like, it is fear-based. It is small. People won't be around when you're down. You learn that the hard way in life. It's true. The amount of people that are going to come for you when you're really having hard times is few and far between. That's just how it is.
That's right.
And,
Chinese food.
And people who
getting
have
fucked.
experienced
I'm sorry.
that have experienced it.
You're right.
And the thing is if you once you get past your hard times, and people do come back around, and they do, you can either hold on to it and like live in that resentment, or you can let it go and forgive everybody and forgive yourself, and it's just a nicer ride. That's it. It's just upgrading the car. Like, the one where you don't do that, you're driving around in a jalopy with the fucking fender falling off. That's resentment and all that. Or you can ride around in a nice Rolls Royce, and that's forgiveness. That's the way I look at it. It's like, I'd just rather ride around in an air-conditioned Rolls Royce.
You're a program guy.
Huh?
That's program stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been in and out of the program for a long time.
This session is free, by the way.
I haven't had as many years consecutive as you. I mean, so I'm sure you could teach me a whole hell of a lot in that regard, but I'm definitely, within that mix too.
But look, you guys been with me an hour and a half, right?
Almost 2 hours.
All right, so
handsome dick.
It went by fast, right?
Yeah, it went by fast.
Right,
You're a good storyteller.
But the point is, you get a sense, right? Like I'm gonna leave, and you're gonna say like, oh, that guy, he's a little like, But you're gonna get a sense of me when I leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I hate to like have to ask you what you think of me, but because of all these other people that motherfuck me, it's like, I mean, I'm a regular guy, right?
From what I know of you here now, yeah. But
Okay.
I think there's an aspect of you manifesting that energy over and over again.
You're right.
And you know that.
I fucking dreams.
And you know that. And I honestly think that Ho'oponopono mantra could be like, just when you're in the gym, put it in your headphones. Just when you're on a long walk,
You got it, man.
And just like when to these characters in your life that you have resentment towards, that did fuck you over. No doubt that many have. I'm sure, and I'm sure you have in also done things, and but and then throw that mantra psychically over all those situations and all those people, and be relentless about it, and just see how it clears the way that you can now live from inspiration rather than from memory. Because if you're living from memory, you keep recreating those situations,
much sense.
and those situations that provoke more of the same thing. And you have to, we all have to take responsibility for our own, like, with our own consciousness, because that's just the way life is,
You can't. You make so much sense. You can't go back and fix that unless somebody's willing to say, "Hey, man, let's fix that."
And if you focus on it, you'll create more of it with other relationships, which you undoubtedly have.
One at a time.
So,
What do you mean?
So if you're focusing on, I've been screwed over by this person or this person, and I had a falling out in this, and your brain, what you focus on is what you'll keep creating. It's like the law of attraction. You'll keep attracting that.
Really?
So if you keep focusing on this situation where I have a resentment towards this person, and this person, then all of a sudden this other thing, like with little Steven, will happen, where that situation, and then I'm focusing on that, and then more of that. And see, that's where the power of the Ho'oponopono comes in, because then you start just like resolving all that stuff. That's why you don't need to cross the border, as you say.
You move on.
You move on within yourself. You forgive.
That's all I want to do, man.
Exactly. You forgive them. You forgive yourself, and then you start thinking of those people in a positive way. You then start creating more relationships that are reflective of that positivity and of that good feeling. And all of a sudden those and then surprisingly, you'll see, it won't happen to all of them, but some of those other old relationships that you thought were unsalvageable, something will happen where they'll come back around, or something will happen where that resentment will get dissolved, and you'll know that you manifested it.
How do you think of them in a positive way? Because someone also
you let the power of the mantra be more enlightened than you. You trust the power of the mantra, and even though you have hatred and resentment towards them or something, you still just have that mantra going on in your headphones or whatever. We have the same headphones. You have that mantra going on in your headphones, and you just throw that over them in that situation, and it has a power beyond us. It really does, man. I was shocked by it too, because I was doing so much shit just to get over my own trauma and my own resentments towards people. I was like running marathons all the time. I was boxing.
Really?
I was doing not marathons, but running long distances, training, sober, eating well, doing all this stuff. But I was hitting this glass ceiling all the time. And then then I found this mantra, and it just broke me. It was like what I needed. It really just broke me.
I want to be freed from myself.
Yeah, that because if you ask me like what would I say about you, I would say that. I would say, yeah, he wants to be free, because you came in here and talking about those situations, and I think part of you just wants to be released from all this bullshit.
And your subconscious, your
subconscious
it comes out in dreams.
Exactly. So this isn't not trying to be patronizing or in any way like anything, but I'm praying for you, like, you know what I mean, and I will send you some of these mantras or the Ho'oponopono thing, and
I'll try it.
I'll try it. And there's a book.
I got plenty of time on my.
And there's a book I'll hip you to too, about that mantra specifically, by Joe Vitale. I forget what it's called, No Limit or something. Joe Vitale, Ho'oponopono. I'll look it up, but
I want to do a cooking show, and I want to do my podcast again.
Well, why don't we start by plugging all those here before we end?
Yeah,
like, what is the name of your podcast?
Well, I've done about 15, 18 of them, but not in a while. It's called You Don't Know Dick. And
good name.
The Handsome Dick Manitoba program on YouTube is just sort of like my fun, goofy program. However, I am starting a cooking show on there as soon as I can figure out all the fucking technical stuff, and that'll be called The Chef of the Future.
Nice.
That's from The Honeymooners.
What are you gonna cook?
I love The Honeymooners.
Well, that's from that show where he got really nervous in front of the TV camera. Can it core a apple? Yes, it can core a apple. They invented this thing, and they went out and did a commercial, like an infomercial, and then he got so nervous in front of the TV. Chef for the Future, can it core a apple? Yes, it's a great title.
Norton.
Don't look at me. I never
watched that show. All right, guys, let's wrap this up.
What about the Jesse stuff?
You want to do?
Jesse said to ask you about Bruce. No, were you hanging out with Bruce?
Yeah, well, we made a record. We saw them every day.
Bruce.
No, that definitely talk about Bruce.
That's how I met Steve in 1978 in the legendary recording studio in Midtown Manhattan. Of course, I can't think of the name of it. We met. The E Street Band was like in Studio A. We were in Studio C, and in the living room area was like a VHS, a player. We could watch movies, and it was the whole E Street Band, and everybody who worked on their record. That all these guys, Chuck Plotkin and Stephen did a lot of producing on the records, and Bruce was there. One night, Bruce actually said when it was very late, because nobody was allowed in the studio except the band, and Bruce invited me and Scott from the Dictators in. He said, "Hey, you guys want to hear something?" I go, "Sure." And he plays In Candy's Room. There are pictures. He plays Candy's Room for us. And we loved it. We loved him anyway. But what are we going to say? You can imagine walking up, it's pretty good, Bruce. It was great. And he invited us in.
What'd you say to him?
We
said, you say it was great, or
Bruce,
did you play
No,
cool?
He said, Bruce, that's fucking great song, man. And then we got him in our studio, and on one of the songs we do, he goes, "What do you want to do?" He goes, "How about like the song in the middle builds up, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and he counted 1, 2, 3, 4 in the middle of the song.
Nice.
So, and then they were regular guys. I would stand up and say, "Hey, Bruce, you want to see my Jim Dandy Mangrum imitation?" And I would like going across the stage, and they were cracking up. And we all became friends. Clarence, we all got along so great. And, Steve and I got along great for 40 years. He did so much good for me that, like I say, if I wrote my book, I'd probably have a page saying, I feel really hurt the way it wound up, because I did send him an email saying, I'm not looking for anything or a job or anything. I don't want to die not being your pal. I don't want to die being your enemy. And he ignored me. So, I put it out there. That's the best I can do. I can't.
And you're putting it out there now again, which is good.
I can't tell you how to bring it back,
The Ho'oponopono will work its magic.
Send it to me, man.
Did you ever meet Lou Reed?
Oh, a bunch of times. As a matter of fact, I got stories about everything. I got a fucking story about everything. Met Lou Reed at 42nd Street at Nathan's once when we were all there. Oh, Lou Reed. And because we had that Lou Reed as a creep line. And I heard him say once in an interview, "Oh, those guys, I ran into them once. They were like kissing my ass." And it was hysterical. We love Lou Reed. I'm a big Velvet Underground fan.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw Lou, this is a ridiculous story, was in, not CBG. Oh, it was in John Varvatos' store. John's a great guy. Good buddy of mine. And Mick Rock, also a great guy, good buddy.
They were doing the book, right?
Yeah, I love Mick.
Yeah, we've had Mick on twice now.
Yeah, we hang out with him.
Have we released that second one?
Yes.
You put it out?
Yeah.
Why didn't you send me a clip?
Because I didn't make it. I've been so busy.
Oh my God, dude! You got to send me a
I
clip
will.
on that.
Yeah, I sent you the painting stuff.
Okay, I'll post that, but you
Yeah.
got to send me info on it. Oh my God, this guy. Anyway,
We hang out with Mick a lot.
Yeah.
He loves
Yeah.
Joe.
A couple of drinks, he starts kissing me.
yeah, that'll happen. So you're
So I'm in
Barbados.
Barbados store. I'm standing halfway back on the side. I'm with like all my friends that I've known. You know, I know everybody. John, Bob Gruen.
You should
I'm
get
with
John on the podcast.
I'm with Bob Gruen. I'm with whoever was there, photographers, musicians, a couple of friends, and I'm listening and I'm talking to some people, and everything's really quiet. And this woman goes, "Shh." So now I'm pissed off. Shh. And she goes, "Shh, stop talking, take it outside." I go, "You shh, you stop talking. It's a rock and roll. It's a rock and roll guy. It's a rock and roll book. It's a rock and roll event. It's not a library." And they got a microphone, and I'm talking quiet. So move up close, you know. So it's like got into all this shit with them. So then, I'll tell you what happened. I actually in an audio way, it's even funnier. So I'm standing there, and I've seen Lou for years, and I know both of them for years. And then all of a sudden, I didn't shut off my ringer like I did here, and my ringer went off. And this is my ringer. So Lou goes, "The Godfather? That's the worst ringtone I ever heard." I go, "Lou, The Godfather is the worst ringtone you ever heard? I don't believe that." And that was the last I saw Lou. He passed away not long after.
Wow, that's funny. I wonder why he hated The Godfather as a ringtone.
You know what? Who even knows if he totally really meant it?
Yeah, it's a funny
I
thing
have
to say.
as the other call. I think they're stopping them on Verizon, but you have a call and answer. I had Canned Heat. I'm on the road again. You know, Canned Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a real. I like Boogie. It's a really good Boogie song.
Well, thanks for doing the podcast, man. It's been awesome.
Okay, tell you, man. I love to talk.
It's fascinating.
You're good at it. Good at telling stories.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Are you on social media? Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram as Richard Manitoba and Handsome Dick Manitoba. Facebook, I've been thrown off for the 11th time. I told you when I came in, right? I'll be 26 more days, but my homepage, which I don't let too many people on, is oh fuck.
What happened?
If you're a baseball fan,
No, I don't know anything about baseball.
the best Yankee player
Neither here.
got a qualifying offer and he put it down, which means he's a free agent. The Yankees have to get him back. LeMahieu. Give me a second here, okay? Instagram. Hold on. Instagram. All right, stupid. Instagram is Richard Manitoba and I think Handsome Dick Manitoba. I have two. Okay. Facebook is. Give me a second. Okay. Richard Manitoba is my Facebook, and the picture of me with my arm around Keith Richards. And, well, this is ridiculous, so I'm not going to give you the ridiculous. So there's 8 pages more, but but I got to get rid of some of the bands we had for like 6 months, like Manitoba, NYC. The Handsome Dick Manitoba fan page is the best.
Yeah, give people the main one.
Handsome Dick Manitoba fan page is the best, and you can try to reach me at Richard Manitoba, but I
Look
don't.
him up.
I don't usually. And then I got what President Trump likes to use. What's my Twitter? I think it's at Richard Manitoba.
At Richard Manitoba on Twitter. All right, dude. And were you a wrestler?
Oh, and yeah, wait, and don't forget to check out my amazing, great website, because the people who love the bar, there's like 50 pictures of the wall, of pictures that were on the wall.
Manitoba's.
Yeah, and it's handsomedickmanitoba.com.
Okay, Handsome Dick
That's
Manitoba.
their website. I was not a professional wrestler. I was a professional wrestling lover.
Oh, okay.
So I got my name.
Oh, okay. All right, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
sir.
guys.
Absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you, everyone.
Been a pleasure. We'll see you next time.
Shout out Jesse
In this
Malin.
day and age, I couldn't think of a better way to spend an evening.
Yeah.
Unless it was two chicks
good
with
one.
big tits.
Next time. Thank you.
Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated.